Hi, I'm Chuck. Today I'm going to build a desk that's used for a podcast station. My friend Andy from MadSiss Productions has a podcasting and video editing business he operates out of his home. He asked me to build him an L-shaped desk with a better cable management system because his previous setup was less than ideal. We decided to do 2 tables and put them in an L configuration because the L shape would be too difficult to get through doors and different types of room setups. For this project, we're going to use 1x2s, 4x4s, 2x4s, and a sheet of plywood for the top. I set up a stop block at the miter saw by using a scrap piece of wood and a clamp and measured the distance between the blade and the stop block and cut all the pieces to length. I'm going to use pocket hole screws to connect the base to the legs and the base to the top. When using pocket hole screws, it's always easier when you drill all the holes prior to connecting things together. Since cable management was important for this desk, I went ahead and drilled some holes in the base for the cables to run through. I raised the blade on the table saw to 1.5 inches and put a stop block on each side of my crosscut sled and cut out a dado on each of the legs. I started assembling the base using pocket hole screws and checking for square as I went. When using pocket hole screws, it's important to clamp everything down because when you start drilling them in, the wood tends to move a little bit. I used a 2x4 as a spacer, and this will come in handy later when I add the trim. When I attached the cross braces to the legs, I countersunk some screws and drilled them in. And I'll cover it up later with some wood filler. Then I just repeated the same steps for the other side of the table. Once I had both ends completed, I attached them together using cross braces and pocket hole screws. I measured to the center of the cross braces to attach a center stretcher at the bottom. I attached this by countersinking some 3-inch wood screws and drilling them straight in. And again, I'll go back later and fill in the countersink holes with some wood filler. Once I had the base together, I put the top upside down on the assembly table and laid the base on top. Since I had inset the base 1.5 inches from the edge of the tabletop using a 2x4 spacer earlier, I put some 1x2s on the edges to act as a spacer to put the side trim on. You'll see that in a minute. The top isn't attached to the base yet, it's just sitting in place for me to put these pieces of 1x2 on. Once we had the 1x2 spacers in place, we lifted the base off the top so we could put some glue down. Then we sat it back on the top and secured it with pocket hole screws. Again, using clamps to hold the base down to the top while I inserted the pocket hole screws. Then I sanded everything and attached some 1x2 for trim using wood glue and brad nails. Since I added the 1x2 spacers to the bottom of the tabletop earlier, now I have something to brad nail and glue the trim onto. At this point, I filled in all the holes with wood filler. Once I had everything sanded, I put a round over bit in my trim router and rounded over the edges. The construction was pretty much done at this point, so we just put some dark stain on it and sealed it with shellac. That's it for this one. We aren't quite done with the cable management for the table yet, but that's going to be a work in progress.